Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock and it's time for another video. And today I'm going to be doing a viewpoint. I'm going to be putting my point of view across about something. This is kind of the video that replays the rants. I'm not angry about this, but I think it's something that's worth discussing. Today, I'm going to be talking about, or asking the question, I want your opinion. I want you to let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm going to be talking about whether magicians, new magicians, people coming into magic, I want to know if you think they're lazy. And I want you to tell me if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. Because I don't know myself, and I'm trying to, it's an interesting thing to talk about. So what am I talking about being lazy? What do I mean by that? Well, here's the thing. When I've worked with Penguin Magic, they tell me when I'm filming a tutorial that I need to explain everything. I want people... They want the tutorial structured in such a way that if somebody's watching this trick and it's the first trick that they buy, they want to be able to have them understand how that trick works. And that's all well and good, and that's absolutely fine. And I was putting together a new thing that I'm going to be doing with Penguin Magic, and I was trying to think through how I was going to do the tutorial. At the same time, I was looking on the internet, and I saw that, there's a lot of the time when a trick comes out, and it's considered difficult, a lot of magicians moan about it. They buy the trick because they see the tutorial. Sorry, not the tutorial. They buy the trick because they see the trailer, and the trailer looks absolutely amazing. And then when they buy the trick, it's hard. It's not easy, or it requires sleights that they haven't learned, or something. It requires skills that they haven't got, so it requires some practice. Or it's a motor skill that they need to pick up, and they need to practice it and practice it. And I've seen time and time again, magicians go, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that. It's going to go in my bottom drawer because it's too difficult. I can't be asked to put the practice in. I can't be bothered to put the rehearsal time in. And I've seen that again and again and again. And I want you to answer this question to yourself. Don't bother putting it in the comments, but honestly answer the question. Have you bought a trick or watched a trick on a DVD or a download or an ebook or an actual book or something like that? Have you ever watched something that you really like and you've thought to yourself, I want to learn that. I really want to learn that. And then when you understand how it works, you kind of go, oh, no, I can't be bothered. That's too much like hard work. Or maybe you've started learning it and you're getting nowhere and you go, oh, no, I can't do that. It's too hard work. Because that happens time and time again. I'm seeing this happen all the time. And I'd love to know, have you ever done that? Because I don't think I have. There's times when I've not ended up performing something that I've practiced. But the reason is I was just not good enough at it. Like I tried and tried and tried. The hot shot cut by Daryl is a perfect example. I've been trying to do that bloody thing for 20 years and I just can't do it. And it frustrates me when I see people that can do it. And for some reason, my hands just don't allow me to do the hot shot cut. I can't do it. I don't know why. I continue to practice. I've always wanted to put it in my act, but unfortunately I can't. I don't seem to be capable of doing the hot shot cut. And that's a perfect example of me trying. I mean, I've been trying for years. I don't think I'll ever be able to do it, but I still practice it all the time. I just can't make it look good or reliable. But I see a lot of magicians just giving up. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because there's so much magic coming out these days that, if you buy something and it requires a bit of practice, you kind of go, well, I'm not going to bother because there's a million other tricks that I can buy that are going to be a lot easier. I don't know if it's because a lot of people overwhelm themselves with magic. And I've seen people talk about that. People have mentioned this many times on the Q&As that I do on a Sunday where they go, hey, I buy every trick and I don't have time to practice it. And so I just select the ones that are completely self-working and I end up not actually improving my sleight of hand because anything that comes in that's difficult, I kind of push it to one side. I don't know if it's because there's so many new tricks that are coming out all the time. I don't know if that's the reason. I don't know if magicians are just lazy and these days they know that they can get a great reaction from so Matt is a perfect example. I'm trying my hardest to get Matt to learn sleight of hand and he sits down and he learns stuff, but he knows he can go out and do a gig and just take an Amverdi die and a Stebbins deck and he's going to be able to boss most situations that he gets himself into. And I've spoken about this with my friend Nemid Phoenix. Nemid has gone out to gigs with Matt, and Nemid is one of the best magicians in the world as far as I'm concerned. And the stuff that he can do with cards and coins, I don't see many other people doing. And he will go up to a table and he'll do incredibly difficult lateral palms and tenkai palms, and he'll do all of this stuff that's just eye candy, and he'll perform it flawlessly, and he'll get a really great reaction. And then Matt will get the exact same reaction from, you know, like an inverted eye, and it's because he's such a great performer and he can use very simple tricks to create a really big impact. And I don't know if that's a problem or not. I mean, I come from a generation where you learn magic, and that involves learning techniques, and that involves learning sleight of hand. You know, for me, coin magic is a perfect example, because coin magic is not an easy thing to learn. There's virtually no self-working coin tricks. There's just not. Because if you're going to learn a trick and it's self-work, if you're going to have a trick, let's say, for example, the cigarette through coin, you've got to switch a coin in. You've got to switch it out afterwards, even though the coin's mechanical. Same with coin through bottle. It may use a folding coin, but you've got to switch that folding coin in, and you've got to shake it out and switch it out for a regular coin afterwards. There's a certain amount of sleight of hand that's always used with coin magic, and so you see less people doing coin magic. When I was in AGT, I was sitting down with the guys from the Magic Castle Junior program that were helping Ryland, incredibly skilled with the deck of cards. All of them were brilliant. But I said to them, hey, let's do some coin magic. And none of them really did coin magic. And I said, why not? And some of them said, oh, I don't carry coins around with me. But some of them were like, oh, it's a bit too difficult. And I see that over and over again, people gravitating away from coin magic because it's too difficult. One thing that I've tried to do with Ryland is I've tried to teach him lots of techniques. If you watch Ryland on Instagram and social media, you'll see him doing a lot of sleight of hand-based stuff. He does card manipulation, ball manipulation, sponge balls. He does cups and balls. He does, you know, I've taught him sleight of hand from a very young age, because for me, that was really important. Could I have just taught him some self-working stuff and sent him out there with self-working stuff? Absolutely. Of course I could have. However, why wouldn't you want to learn sleight of hand? It opens up way more doors than it would do if you didn't learn this stuff. So I don't know. You know, I see it a lot, and I know from speaking to other magicians that one thing I've tried to do when I create my magic, by the way, is I try to make it accessible for everybody. So even something that's a little bit more difficult, I try to put a simpler option in this. And I saw Tyler Lunsford review Gatekeeper recently. And he said, you know, there's not really any negatives. I really like it. But one thing that I would say is that it's not self-working. And it's something that you're going to have to practice, because there's a move involved. There's sleight of hand involved. And for all of you people that don't like to do sleight of hand, please be aware that it's not a key that a flap is going to open. It's going to do it automatically for you. There is going to be some sleight of hand. And that drove it home to me as well. And that made me think, you know what, you're right. You know, I've seen magicians buy something and then they're disappointed when it actually requires some skill. They expected a little gimmick. Gatekeeper's a perfect example. You can achieve the effect that you see on the trailer using it very easily. It's not even difficult sleight of hand. But I know some people haven't bought Gatekeeper, and that's your right. You don't have to. This isn't a sales pitch Gatekeeper. But some people haven't bought Gatekeeper because it involves a little bit of sleight of hand that you can learn very, very easily, as opposed to having a gimmick key, and I think there's an over-reliance of gimmicks sometimes. I saw a trick recently that used a flap to change a card from a red back card into a blue back card. And it was just it was a guy that was doing it on Instagram, and it was just a flap. It was look, I'm going to take this card. This is your card. Watch. Boom. It changes. And I'm like, there's a million ways that you could do that doesn't require a flap or a gimmick. Like an Erdnase change or a shapeshifter change. A million different ways that you could do it that would look as good as that. But you've not done that. You've not done that. You've used a flap. And in the context of the routines that I saw him do, because he performed 3 different routines with this flap in a real world situation, there was nothing there that couldn't have been done with a little bit of sleight of hand. And it's kind of like, well, why would you choose to use a gimmick that needs to be snuck into the deck? It needs to be snuck out afterwards. It needs to be It's not examinable. Why would you choose to do that when you can achieve the exact same thing with sleight of hand? And I know that there's going to be people that will have bought that and are doing that. So it can't be because they don't think the effect's strong, because they're happy to do it with a gimmick. I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about a lot recently. My attitude is that you want to take the simplest approach to any problem. Now, the simplest approach does not necessarily mean the easiest approach. It means the simplest approach. So, for example, if I want to control a card to the deck, to the top of the deck, a lot of the time, the simplest approach is with a side steal or with a pass. Because you put it in, it's at the top immediately. Now, it's not the easiest way to do it, but it is most definitely the simplest way. But it's not easy. And that's the thing, right? I don't know. That's the thing. Sometimes I'll do something and it is a simple trick. You guys that are watching this know that I love self-working magic. I've done multiple videos on self-working tricks with a deck of cards. And I'm a big fan of the mem deck and stacks, which again are self-working. And I've got so many different self-working routines that I love performing, and I perform with them all the time. I don't know. I'm just a little bit, I don't know. Are magicians lazy? That's the question I'm trying to ask. Are magicians lazy? Are we getting to a point where as a generation of magicians, we just want to do the simplest thing because we know that there's going to be a simple approach that's going to enable us to be able to perform that routine to our audiences that doesn't require sleight of hand? Because a lot of the time, everything that you can achieve with sleight of hand, there's a version out there that you can use a gimmick for. You want to do a color changing deck. Yeah, you can use sleight of hand, or you can use this method, which is completely self-working. And it uses a gimmick, or it uses two gimmicks. I don't know. I performed at a gig a little while ago with another magician. And this other magician, I was doing what I do, the various different things I do. And I was like, oh, what's your set? And it was nothing but self-working tricks. He was like, right, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. And it was just a series of collection of routines that required no skill, and it was just gimmick after gimmick after gimmick after gimmick, and there was no flow to it. I watched him perform and there was no flow to it. It was like, right, I'm going to do this trick. Now I'm going to do this trick, and there was no trying to make the tricks flow from one to the other. It was just bringing out a series of gimmicks, doing tricks with that series of gimmicks, and then putting them away. So tell me, what do you think? Are magicians lazy? Or is it just the fact that, that people are nervous about putting new stuff in their act? I know that's the case. I know that there's magicians out there that go to gigs and they've put this in their close-up case and they've practiced it and they're planning on doing it, but they get to the gig and they're like, well, I'm not going to put it in this time. This is an important gig. And they stick to the stuff that they're used to, right? And the stuff that's new that they wanted to put in there ends up going into their bottom drawer because they never have the guts to put it in their act. I've met magicians that go out and do the same tricks over and over again with no deviation and no change. And honestly, those magicians, I can tell that they're not happy and they're just going through the motions. They don't really want to be there. The passion for magic has gone. And I think that's part of it. I think part of it is passion. Why do I like learning really difficult stuff that I'm probably never going to learn, never going to use? Why do I like practicing sleights that I've probably never used? It's because I love magic and I'm passionate about wanting to learn as much about it as possible. I've told a story about a friend of mine from many, many years ago who didn't like learning sleight of hand at all. He would take the easiest approach to anything. It was all completely self-working for this guy. Nothing would be, he would never perform anything that required any skill. It would all be completely self-working. And he wasn't even the best performer. He got by. He was okay as a magician. He was pretty good. But he wasn't as good as the magicians that go out there and take more pride in their work. Now, is that what it is? Is it the magicians that go out and use sleight of hand? Because you can't tell me that people like James Brown, people like Apollo Robbins, people like Shutagawa, people like Shin Lim, you can't say that they're not entertaining. Sometimes people go, well, sometimes magicians focus too much on technique and they don't focus any time on performing, and they're really bad performers. That's not always the case. Yes, there's bad performers out there that do sleight of hand based magic, but there's also bad performers out there that do self-working magic, and there's good performers that do self-working magic and good performers that do sleight of hand based magic. I don't think that's what it is, and I don't know the answer. But on the surface of it, on the outside looking in, it really does look to me like a lot of magicians these days are just lazy. They want the easiest solution. I see it a lot in business. I see it in magicians that do, that are either semi-pro or pro. They don't want to put any effort in to get those gigs. They want more gigs. I've had conversations with magicians and they've said to me, what do I need to do to get more gigs? And I've told them, I said, this is what you need to do. I'm going to break it down for you. You need to do this and this and this and this and this. And none of it requires any money, but it requires a lot of effort on their part because it involves writing content and it involves hustling and picking up the phone and speaking to people. And I've given people blueprints of how to get more gigs. And I've asked them like 2 months later, how's it gone? And they've gone, nah, too much like hard work. I'll just wait for the phone to ring. And then they're not happy with the amount of gigs that are coming in, but they're not doing anything about it. It's frustrating. It really is. You see it a lot in business. You see it a lot performing. So are magicians lazy? Are you a lazy magician? Do you not bother? Do you buy something and then get rid of it because it's too hard? And if so, why? Genuinely, why? If you've bought something, it's generally because you like the effect. You don't just buy something blind. Most of the time, you buy it because you've watched a trailer, you've done a bit of research, and you like the effect. Why have you bought it to then take it and not learn it because it's too difficult? If you're telling me that this trick is too difficult, that's why you've not learned it, why should that stop you? You've already bought the trick. You obviously like the trick because you got... Now, if it's a dishonest trailer, that's a different thing. If the trick is not fit for purpose, that's a different thing. But if it's fit for purpose and it does what it's meant to do, and it's not a dishonest trailer, why would you not do it? Why would you not go out there and do it? That's what I want to know. I'm really interested. Yeah, it's going to require a little bit more practice. So practice. I spend hours producing content. I also spend hours studying marketing because I like to know about that sort of stuff. It makes me a better business owner. It makes me a better magician. I'm not afraid of hard work. And I think some magicians are afraid of hard work. I think that's the thing. And are we breeding a generation of magicians that don't want to go and put the effort in? Well, I don't know the answer. But I want to know what you think, because there's some incredible young magicians in this world, and I know a lot of them personally, and I think the future of magic is very bright. And I don't see this with a lot of the younger magicians. A lot of the young magicians will come in and blow my mind when it comes to stuff. They'll, not just in terms of their technique, not just in terms of the amount of stuff they know, but their understanding of performing as well. And I think the newer generation are brilliant. Is it hobbyists? Is it hobbyists or is it pros? Is it semi-pros? I want to know. I want to know what you think. Or am I just talking crap? That's obviously always a possibility because that can happen. Let me know in the comments down below. Are magicians lazy? And if they are, what's the solution to it? Let me know in the comments down below. Are magic dealers too soft on people? I don't know. It's my thought of the day and I wanted to share it with you. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Anyway, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to join the Netrix. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.